Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adliknei shel Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim hahem b'azman Ma'oso Yeshuati Lehana Elishabeya Tikom Beit Tefilati V'sham Toda Nisabeya V'etahima Beya Mitzah Minabeya Ozeg Mor B'Shir Mizmor Hanukat HaMizbeach Ozeg Mor B'Shir Mizmor Hanukat HaMizbeach.
So, Rabbi, I would like to say that that is the most wonderful way to get everybody's attention. All of a sudden, it was silent. So tonight is night 4, and it is December 1st, and we are traveling someplace we've never been and probably never thought about visiting. We're going to Nigeria with Rabbi Shaul Praver. And although this is going to sound funny to you, I tripped over him, not literally, but figuratively, when he did services a few weeks ago. And at Kiddush, we were talking about this program, and he said, well, I could tell you about Nigeria if you'd like. And he just volunteered. And you know, I never say no when somebody offers to do something. And I believe you are going to find this very, very interesting. So, Rabbi, I will share when you want me to share. You're muted. You're still muted. Or not.
There we go.
Okay, so the floor or the internet is yours. You're on.
Okay, and you can maybe show some of the first Hanukkah pictures while I'm telling the story.
Okay.
You know, there's you see the people in the background, and you see some of the children. There's even a video of one of the young children lighting the candles. Here's a Torah reading. And so the Jews of Nigeria, there's many different versions of how they got there. But one of the things that is important to know about the people of Nigeria themselves is that there's about 40% of the population are from what they call the Igbo people. And Igbo, they all, even the Christians, they say, we are Israelite. We came from ancient Israel. And they, you know, many adopted Christianity. But this group over here either held onto their Judaism through the years. Some the tradition says that they came very early, along around the time that Ethiopians had left the Holy Land and found their place in Nigeria. And others will give different versions, and it's really hard to know exactly what the origins are. It could be somewhat a combination, as you know, from Jews in America. There's many different places we came from, and we all kind of come together in a unified community, more or less. But we all have our own stories. And the same is true for the Nigerian. They're under a lot of pressure right now. There's been a lot of violence lately, a lot of persecution. I have been teaching on Zoom a small group of Jews there, the Torah portion, the weekly portion, and I do a little kiddie program before we, for the young children of the mothers and the fathers, and we do a little bit of that to touch base. They originally had a huge conversion. Rabbi Andrew Sachs and his organization went there and did a formal conversion under the conservative Judaism. And they also did, the mikvah, and they did weddings. So to make sure that their weddings were kosher. Many of them want to go to Israel, to emigrate to Israel. My group, and you'll see in the video, they know how to read Hebrew, and they want to fashion themselves according to the standard of Judaism that is practiced in Israel, and so that they can be accepted there. So they have some ancient traditions, but they frankly have also learned a lot of things, doing things the way that we do them in America. You'll recognize their melodies and pronunciation. So let's look at a few more of the pictures, Carol, and we could even play a little video. Yeah, see. So I actually raised a little bit of money for them to have a television screen so that we can increase the number of people that can attend the Parsha class. And so these are some of the people that come to my classes sometimes. This is not a picture that they sent. This is on the internet. But here you see another congregation. It's a big country, Nigeria, so there could be huge distance between the different communities. So you see they wear yarmulke like we wear, and they have the Torah scroll, even the Ashkenazic kind of Torah scroll, tefillin. And so they didn't always have exactly like we do, but they very much wanted, like I said, fashion themselves in the observance of a conservative or Orthodox Jew, how so that they can be recognized eventually by the world Jewish community as being part of Amcha, the people of Israel.
I'm going to try to get to your video.
Okay.
So this is where we all have to be patient that it happens.
Okay, yeah. So this is I think the first night of Hanukkah. And I know these are people that come to my class.
Oh, it turned itself, Rabbi. I don't know why.
It's okay. We just have to watch it sideways.
Okay.
Try to bring the volume up though.
I can pause it if you want and try to get the volume up.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
it's kind of nice when the little boys chanting.
okay, hold on 1 second and I'll do
Sure.
it this way.
You remember years ago there was the crisis in Biafra, the Biafran crisis. Do some of you remember that? There was starvation, and I don't know if does that word Biafra, is that a familiar word? The Biafran people, or the region of Nigeria which is called Biafra.
Yes, I remember it.
Okay.
Amen.
There it is.
About my salvation to praise you tonight, rest on my house of prayer, and there will be a thanksgiving of saying when you have prepared the slaughter for the dressing forth. Then I shall complete the song of the dedication of the altar. God visited my soul when my soul was consumed. There began my life with my cheek, with the heart half like kingdom bondage. For trees is great power, is not for the praise of one, for the hours of praise, and down the story to the deep, to the abode of his own mercy, brought me. Get to where I have no rest, and not so care as I need, for I have some alliance, I have drunk the London wines.
Okay. There's a lot of noise there, but you can see, what it is like for this community to gather in their synagogue in Nigeria and observe Hanukkah like we do. So I was starting to say about the Biafran. That's you could look into it more. It's a separatist movement, a general movement of Nigerian people of this particular group of Israelite that regard themselves as Israelite. And so they had at a certain point in time wanted to be their own country. And of course that didn't, it worked out. There was a lot of pushback for that. And
if I had only known the last,
I'm not sure. And so those are some of the issues right now, and there's a lot of crackdowns, and it's a little rough in Nigeria right now for Jewish people because they don't want the separatist movement, which is basically mostly a Christian group that are from Israelite origins that want to form their own country as the Israelite group. And I really didn't understand that when I was a kid and I saw the issues of Biafra and the starvation that was happening. And it was really a big aha moment when I started to understand it better just by interacting with the community directly. So that's my little presentation in Nigeria, and there's a lot to learn.
So I don't usually open for questions, but would you mind if we took just a couple of minutes if anybody has a question for you?
Sure, I'm not a Nigerian expert, but I'll share what I do know.
Okay. if anybody has a question, just show me by raising your hand. Lisa?
I don't really have a question, but I thought that was fascinating. And that young man seemed to really know his stuff.
Yeah, they're very motivated. They, they'll call me and insist that, we have class, and sometimes I'm very busy, but they'll nudge me and I'll say, okay, so we're gonna have class. They want to learn, and they're really delightful people. You're welcome to, join with us some Sunday morning and see how. It's just a small groups that we have, but I put the Parsha onto the computer and they'll read. I'll make them work for it. They'll read the verses and try to understand and translate.
Did they already knew how to read Hebrew, apparently?
Yeah, they know how to read. Some of them know, actually can comprehend and have a pretty good vocabulary, and can translate most of the words of the Parsha.
Wow.
And we get into discussions, and I
They're
learn
ahead of
about,
a lot of us.
about their culture also. It's very different, their culture there. And they are highly oppressed. There's a lot of oppression right now. So we actually moved our class to an earlier time before sundown. They felt safer by
Wow.
having it earlier.
Wow. Edith?
Yes, I just want to know if they have a rabbi or a teacher, or how do they acquire the knowledge? Who teaches them? Who taught them before you started your classes? I mean, how did they
They
learn?
have some rabbis in other regions of the country that I'm not interacting with right now. So the community that I am helping in Nigeria is a country that's is a community that is led mostly by the laity, so they don't really have a rabbi. But there's a husband and wife that are kind of the leaders of it, and they know, and they can do a lot. That man that you saw, the older man lighting the candles, he's the lay leader of that synagogue.
And do they observe kashrut laws?
They do.
Yes.
They do. They
And
can't.
they have textbooks.
They have to eat a lot of fish. They can't get, kosher meat. It's a big problem for them. So they eat a lot of fish. Sometimes
So they have the books, and keep reprinting them or whatever, they keep it going.
yeah, they're recipients of a lot of gifts from American communities that send books. And a lot of the talesim that you see were gifts. They have a connection with Israel. Some of them work for Israeli companies in Nigeria, so they know some Israelis also.
Thank you.
Energy companies.
Okay, I see. Howard Goldstein, you have a question?
Yes, I was just wondering how you ended up getting involved with this community.
Interesting.
If you can tell it briefly.
Yeah. Well, I'm a chaplain in prisons, and I was finding a lot of African Americans that were telling me about Israelite Israelite background. I'm not talking about the violent group, that we had some violence some months ago. But I'm just talking about people, African Americans that have some kind of a remnant of Judaic or Israelite tradition that has to do with the way they eat, not eating pork, and lighting candles on Friday night. and some other things. And at first I didn't quite believe it, but as I talked to them and learned more and started to read and speak to also Nigerian Christians that knew a lot about the Jews in their country, because there was a leader, an educational leader in the Bridgeport jail that became a friend of mine. And we talked a lot, and he told me about, a lot of information that checked out. And so I began to be led to the African communities from the African-American people that I had in custody that I was working with.
Judy Seidel?
Yes, Rabbi, to your point about the Bridgeport community, years ago, I had a man who helped me a couple of times in my house. And he started reading Hebrew and telling me all about the holidays, but they also believed in Jesus. Does this group believe in Jesus too?
They don't. They're straight up Jewish, but there are different communities that are different shades. So you have to look for those things. Does Jesus have a role in the synagogue? Are they messianic in that way? No, I mean, I don't really get involved with that part of the community. So these guys are just straight up Jewish.
Thank you.
Sai? Wait, Sai, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you'd know whether or not they do have an interfaith marriage problem there, like we have here.
They stick pretty much to themselves. They're pretty strong in their conviction, and very adverse to losing their faith. They are very strong about marrying Jewish, so they have certainly a problem, but the ones that I know are trying very hard and being very strict about keeping it Jewish.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Before we wrap up, we've been making Kaddish available. Billy, you want Kaddish tonight? Okay.
Carol, thanks. I was at the Mincha, the Maariv service earlier.
Okay.
And we were able to do Kaddish a couple of times. So it's not imperative for me.
Okay.
Unless there's somebody else who needs to do it.
Anybody else tonight? Okay. Then before we end, we have the raffle. And our president has all of your names in her, look at that, in her bucket with dreidels. Okay, Debbie, unmute.
Okay, shaking it up.
Debbie, you should, wait, before you do that, I think you should bring your friend out.
Oh, hold on. How do I do this?
And so for anybody who has any doubts, that is our illustrious president of Congregation Rhoda Sholem.
All right, here we go. Shaking them up. I picked up the ones that fell on the floor. Let's see. Do I have one? Yes, I have one. Larry Sachs.
Oh, okay.
All right, Larry.
Congrats.
So we will get that to Larry.
Okay, I put a star next to his name so I know who gets it. Okay, so I have a couple of things to remind you about. Tomorrow night, we're moving from Nigeria to St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, where we will have Rabbi Michael Feshbach, the rabbi of the Hebrew synagogue in St. Thomas. He will be our guest. On Friday night, we're going to hear from Larry Shire and Edith Winnick about Hungary, and we may have a special guest joining us. And then on Saturday night, we're going to India with Debbie Scheiman, and Sunday night, Sarajevo with David Pettigrew, a colleague of Debbie Weiss's at Southern Connecticut State University. And last but not least, we have a special coffee and conversation next Wednesday, so please put it on your calendar. Irving Glazer has agreed to come back and talk about his experiences, because I told him that you were all so amazed by the stories he told about his landing on D-Day, and he has plenty more to share. And even though he, like all of the others, and I think it's fair to say all of the others from the greatest generation, do not believe that he was special, he is special, and he's special to us. So he will be on Coffee and Conversation, 10 o'clock next Wednesday morning. So Rabbi Praver, I thank you for volunteering. I thank you for being part of our Road of Shalom family. We
Welcome to him.
Yes.
So for those who don't know, we welcome, effective today, actually, Rabbi Praver as our associate rabbi / cantor, not to Cantor Hirsch and Rabbi Eisenberg will still be in their same roles, but just to make sure our bench is never short and we're all set. So we welcome him to the Road of Shalom family tonight.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you all very much. You're a lovely, lovely Road of Shalom family. So thank you for that.
Okay. Well, I thank you all for coming. Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
Get your
Happy
plane
Hanukkah.
tickets
Thank
for
you,
tomorrow
Carol,
night.
Debbie.
Okay.
Rabbi. Thank you, Rabbi. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hey, happy.
Hey, Larry, hi. Hi, Ernie. Hi, happy Hanukkah, Ernie.
Thank you, Erica. Happy
I love
Hanukkah.
it. I love it. It's so nice. You're so creative.
Well, thank you.
Good to see you. Nice to see you.
It's always my pleasure to see you in Road of Shalom. It really and truly is. I look forward to it. Thank you.
See you tomorrow night.
Keep healthy.
Thank you. You too. Stay well. Thank you.
Bye-bye.